Hey everybody, it's Nick from Makeup Forever. I'm here with my beautiful model Victoria.
Hello.
Today we're gonna play with some special effects products. The first technique I wanna show you is a really quick cut / gash. We're gonna start off using Spirit Gum to lay down a base. Then we're gonna go in using Plasto Wax by Makeup Forever to create the wound. Later on we'll fill it in using our special effects palette, and we'll top it all off with a little bit of gore. Who doesn't love a little coagulated blood? So the first step is to use our Spirit Gum, but before you apply any Spirit Gum to the face, you want to remove any oils from the area. Victoria, is it okay if I use a little alcohol to remove oils from your face? So I'm going to remove the oils first. I just use a little hand sanitizer. We're going to give her a little gash right through the brow here. I'm going to turn her head this way just a bit so we can see it. So now that the oils are removed, the next step is to use your Spirit Gum. This is the Makeup Forever Spirit Gum. If you've never tried it, it dries really quickly. It's very matte. It's actually my favorite formula for Spirit Gum. And I'm gonna take just a little bit and apply it where I wanna apply the cut. And then I'm gonna set that aside, and then we'll go in with our Plasto Wax. If you've never used Plasto Wax, it's super, super easy to work with. The quickest way to create like a cut or a gash is to take a little bit and roll it into like a noodle shape. I say a noodle, it's just like a long piece, like this. And then when that Spirit Gum gets a little tacky, you want to apply this right there at like so. And then we'll do another one, and we'll apply it slightly askew from the previous one. So the Spirit Gum's gonna help the Plasto Wax to adhere to the forehead and really lock it in place, especially if you're gonna be like out and about and going out late. You want that Spirit Gum to really lock it in place. Now we're ready for the next step, which is to take a palette knife, spatula, something that's not too sharp. You don't want a sharp edge, you want it to be kind of blunt because you don't want to hurt your model. And you're gonna gently press and smooth only one side of your Plasto Wax noodle to the forehead. So this is like really quick, easy special effects. And you can see how it blends into her skin. And then the inside, you want to leave it three-dimensional and just open. At Makeup Forever, we have 2 colors of Plasto Wax too. If you needed like a deeper skin tone, we also make that. But you can already kind of see how the gash is going to be shaped. So maybe she got into a bar brawl, got into a fight, and she lost. Or maybe she won. This is her battle wounds, her badge of honor. All right, everybody, we're getting there. So it's pretty much already the shape that we want. I'm gonna smooth just down here a little bit. And be cautious, like take your time, be gentle with your model. You don't wanna hurt anybody. Don't put too much pressure. And it doesn't have to be so perfect. Honestly, when you're working with this type of product, if it's too perfect, it looks fake. So you can have it be a little messy. The goal though is to have the edges really blend seamlessly into the skin. Because this is a wax-based product, the more that you touch it, the warmer it gets, and then it smooths down a little bit easier. I know some people like to use like water or lotions to smooth it into the skin. I try to trust that it is just gonna smooth down on its own. So that's phase 1 of our gash. We use Spirit Gum, Plasto Wax. Now we're ready to paint. So in order to paint, I'm gonna take the Special Effects palette by Makeup Forever. This is a great palette. It's a great tool for doing special effects because it's already got the colors you need. You've got primary colors like yellow, blue, red. Then you also have the addition of brown and black to add some depth and to add some like contrast. So I'm gonna take just a little bit of the black and a little bit of the red. I'm gonna just work off my hand. You should probably work off a palette at home. I love working off my hand for this product because it warms it up. Thank you for all the love, everybody. So I'm gonna paint just the inside here using a small liner brush, and I mix the black and the red together. I'm gonna get an even smaller brush. I feel like that brush is too big. So here's a teeny brush. This is actually an eyeshadow smudging brush. And paint the very, very inside of our prosthetic to create that depth. So a little black around the edges. And then we'll go through with the red and enhance it. So this isn't meant to be like a super realistic wound, but I mean, I think for intents and purposes, like if you had to do this for a quick photo shoot on camera or for Halloween, this would definitely be effective. So far, so good. How do you guys feel? Looking pretty good? So the last step for this is going to be to add blood. But before we do that, I'm going to take a cheap sponge and pinch off all the corners. And then just dip in a little bit of my red flash color from the FX palette and just kind of give her some irritation around here. So it looks like more realistic. And if you get, I'll have her get up close to the camera just a little bit so you guys can see how it looks. But it looks really three-dimensional. So look, if I turn her head just a little bit, you can see that skin kind of peeking forward. And then that really deep wound. So our next step is going to take coagulated blood by Makeup Forever. Actually, I think this is the thick one. It says coagulated. So coagulated blood is great. It's my favorite blood by Makeup Forever. We have about 4 different bloods. This one holds its shape, easy to apply. It's a quick way to create like a cut or scrape. And we're gonna just place it right in there. Ooh, delicious. I'll be here at King of Prussia this week, so I'm doing live demos on Thursday all day, so if you want to stop by and say hello, I'm happy to see you all. But this is a quick, very quick gash using Makeup Forever products. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope to see you all soon. Bye. Oh wait, get up close, Victoria, so they can really see what it looks like. Get up in there, yeah. It's kind of gross. All right. Take a step back. All right, everybody. Happy Halloween.
Bye.
All right, everybody, we're back.
Hello.
And we're gonna play with liquid latex now. We're gonna do some like dead textured skin. You're gonna want a few household items, so like some cheapo sponges, like what you get at the drugstore, and you wanna pinch off all the corners so that there are no straight edges. So I'm gonna prepare this really quick so you can see it. And the more texture you get in the sponge, the better. All these like little like nooks and crannies, that's gonna help create the end result that we want for texture. So it's good to have a few of those set aside. And the next thing you wanna do is take 1 ply of Kleenex. I've already separated this into 1 ply. And then you wanna remove sections that are like rough edges. You don't want any straight edges to it, because that'll take away from your illusion. I've already got a pile there set aside for us so that we can get right into the makeup. And then lastly, you're gonna need liquid latex. This is the Makeup Forever Stippling Latex. It's really nice because it's a really thin latex, great for creating special effects. I'm gonna pour a little bit out onto my Makeup Forever palette and work from there. So on Victoria, we've already got a gash from earlier. We're gonna just keep building on the look. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my Stippling Latex by Makeup Forever and that sponge that we created and just go around the edge of the wound and anywhere that we wanna create some texture on her skin. So just a little bit of that latex. And before it dries, you can lay down your little pieces of tissue. This is like old school special effects. I'm thinking like The Exorcist / zombie makeup, dry skin. This could also work for like sunburns, that kind of stuff. And then you want to stipple more latex on top. And the whole idea is just to create the illusion of texture. Afterwards, you can paint this flesh tone or different colors. I like to also use household items. So like sometimes oatmeal, crushed up Oreos, cookie crumbs, things like that. Anything that you can use to create a little bit of texture. I think oatmeal works really, really well if you want to create like some sort of disease on the skin. So, I mean, this is pretty much it for this technique. It's going to take a little bit of time to build it up, and then we'll continue painting it. So we'll do it in sections, that way it's not like an overwhelmingly long video. We want to keep this video nice and short for you guys. Hey, thanks guys. Thank you for paying attention to my crazy artsy stuff. Really looking forward to Halloween this year. You'll have to check out the Makeup Forever US page for Halloween because we're going to be posting some really cool videos that I was able to shoot with myself, our team, my friend Jessica, who's also a really talented artist. I got transformed into a skull, into a scary clown, which I think will be like the top looks for the year this year. So once this is dry, we'll paint it. So that's pretty much it. I'm gonna have her get up close so you can kind of see what's going on. You guys can see these thin layers of tissue mixed in with latex. So we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll come back with our next technique, which is gonna be how to paint this using flash color and aqua seal. So if you guys have this at home, you wanna prepare aqua seal. I get the giant bottle because I use it a lot for special effects. And then for my flash palette, I'm not gonna use the traditional flash palette. I'm gonna use the cinema palette, just because we've got some really nice like gray tones in here that are gonna be great for painting some realistic like zombie skin. So we'll see you all soon. Welcome back. We're getting scarier by the moment. So I put the latex in tissue. I added a little extra. We're still letting it dry. While it dries, I want to show you something else on her other side. We're going to do a little like bruise / black eye action. So I'm going to go back to the Special Effects palette by Makeup Forever. We're going to use a little bit of blue, a little bit of red, and maybe a touch of yellow later on. So I got my 3 primary colors, blue, red, and yellow. You guys should know your primary colors by now if you're all artists. And then aqua seal. Aqua seal is really key to this type of special effect, to creating bruises, black eyes, that kind of stuff, because it's gonna shear down the effects palette to almost nothing. So when you apply special effects like this, you want it to be very, very sheer on see-through, so that it looks, as you're applying it, like it's down below the skin and not sitting on top of the skin. So I've taken one of these sponges that we created, loaded it with aqua seal, just a little bit of our color from the palette, and then I'm using her cheekbone. That high point of her cheekbone is the point of impact for her bruise and her black eye. So I'm gonna avoid putting too much product over this area so that it looks like it's 3-dimensional and sticking out. And then we're gonna build around it in thin sheer layers using the red first, and then we can come back in with some darker colors. But hopefully you can already see this kind of bruising action building up here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So a little more aqua seal, and it really takes time, so you don't want to build it too fast because then it starts to look really fake. So take your time. I'm mixing in a little bit of blue now with my sponge, blue and red together. And if you want to see what the sponge looks like, I'll hold it up close. There's not too much product on there, it just looks like it's stained. And then we're going to go through with another layer. You want to let it dry a little bit between layers too, because the aqua seal will reactivate what's underneath. So you want to keep it really, really sheer and let it dry in between layers. Close your eye for just a moment. I'm going to put a little bit up here too. She's going to definitely have bruising here too. Like working with waterproof products, it's all about thin sheer layers. I say it all the time when we train people on all of our new aqua products. So I'm going to go in with a little more red, and this time I'm going to add just a tint of black, so just the smallest amount of black mixed in with my red here. And this is going to start adding a little more depth. Notice how I rotate the sponge as I'm applying it. That's going to ensure that there's no distinct patterning, which is going to help to make it look more believable. So I'm going to take a little more black in that sponge. I'm going to pinch it so that we can get right in the inner corner of her eye. Because typically when you get a bruise on the face, it really, really affects the inner corner of the eye. And then right up against the lash line here. So because we're using aqua seal, this makeup will stay on all day. Like she can go partying all night long and know that this makeup is on there. You can be playful with colors and create different illusions. So like maybe she's a mermaid and you want to create mermaid skin. It's the same technique. You just might layer it differently and with different colors around the other areas of the face. Very, very stable. So this is a very quick bruising technique. Get up close so they can really see it. And then we'll take a little break and we'll come back and we'll paint the rest of her. Yeah, she looks beat up. Looking good. All right, everybody. We'll be back in like 2 minutes with some extra painting using our other flash palette to create like a zombie tint over her whole face. See you soon. All right, we're back. We're gonna keep adding to our look. So now that the latex and tissue's dried, we're gonna take a little bit of Super Matte Loose Powder. That's this one by Makeup Forever. And I'm gonna just set my latex just to mattify it a little bit because it's a little shiny. When latex is shiny, the paint may not stick to it. So just adding this thin layer of powder is gonna lock it in place, mattify it, and give something for your paint to stick to. So I'm just using a sponge. You can use a powder puff at home. So that's that step. The next thing we want to do is take 2 of our homemade effects sponges. So these are cheapo sponges that I cut up. And I just pinched off all the corners and all the straight edges just to create like texture. Other sponges that you can use for this are the Makeup Forever Effects sponges, or I like natural sea sponges because they create some really good texture. And then the next up, we're gonna use Aqua Seal again, and then the Cinema Palette by Makeup Forever. I'm gonna start off with a nice like grayish color, like a bluey gray color. Just mix it all together, get it kind of muddy. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, perfection is not what we're looking for when you're doing this type of makeup. And I'm gonna do the same effect that we did for bruising over here, using the same sponges, same technique, just with a different color. So the goal now is to make her skin look less alive. So we're gonna remove her natural tone. So naturally we have that little pinky tone or warm undertone from our blood and blood vessels. We're gonna remove it by putting an overcast of like this like gray blue color. So I'm gonna just keep stippling it on using the Aqua Seal. And you want to turn your sponge frequently because you don't want to have a recognizable pattern. No recognizable pattern wanted. And the more you layer it, the more intense it's gonna get. So it's good to work in sections. So like I start on one side of her face, then we'll move to the other, and then keep building it up. Just for the sake of the video, just so we can get through it quickly so you can get to the next steps, I'm gonna just keep it to this side of the face for now. And then you can change the color scheme too. Go a little bit darker here and there. And when you get up close, you'll get up close in a little bit, you'll see all these little subtle nuances, and like it looks almost like veining. Look up. I'm gonna get right under her eye. Look down and get right onto this lid here. So if she was dead, her blood might be a little bit darker, so we might mix in a little black a little bit later just to take away some of the red. And this is really it, guys. You're gonna be taking your time, stippling this on in really thin sheer layers. But imagine, once you have all these techniques down, all the things that you can create. Afterwards too, you can take like eyeshadows or contour palettes and really sculpt out the cheek just to make her look a little more emaciated and hungry. Hopefully you guys are still with us. I'm gonna take a little bit darker now. I'm gonna take the brown and a little bit of this green just to add some more depth. So again, with our Aqua Seal on my sponge, pick up just a little bit of product. And the sponge should just look stained. It shouldn't look oversaturated with product. And we'll just keep adding layer after layer. And remember, it's all about like twisting your sponge and not making it look perfect. The more perfect it is, the less believable it is. I think what could help us too is to make her eyes look a little sunken in. And to do that, we're gonna use the same technique. We'll just switch over to black. And I'm gonna use a brush for that so that I have more control. So I'm gonna use a 226 brush with a little Aqua Seal and then just a touch of black. So we want it very transparent. And we'll just add a little bit of depth around the eyes so that we get that like sunken in effect. And I'm treating the brush the same way I did the sponge by rotating it and not making sure that it's blended. We don't want any blend in here, guys. I know you spend all your blending your makeup, but for this, no blending allowed. Look down. And I'm following her natural eye socket with the placement so that it fits her a little bit more naturally. It's more believable. Open. There we go, nice sunken in the eyes. Look up. I'm gonna get right up to her lash line with a little extra color. You could probably do this with an eyeliner if you wanted to. Keep in mind too, we used Aqua Seal, so this is very stable. She's gonna be wearing this for a couple days now. I didn't warn her, so she's stuck like this. Just kidding. So to break down any Aqua Seal product, waterproof product, Sensei's works the best. To break down latex, I like to use oil. Look down. We have an extreme cleanser at Makeup Forever that works really, really well. It's got like an apricot oil base to it, apricot seed oil, so it's really healthy for your skin. And it's also water soluble, so it's not like an oil that's gonna just sit on your skin. You're able to wash it off easily. I like this, like sunken in eye look. I think I wanna add more depth to her cheek, so I'm gonna take a little bit of that black, just the same way that we did with the brown. And that same sponge, I have a clean one here. I'm gonna start, I think, with a fresh one, just so it doesn't get too muddy. And we'll pick up a little black. We'll contour her cheeks this way. So her cheekbone is here, her eye cheekbone right up to the eye. We're gonna go a little bit below it and just do a little stipple action. Kind of looks dirty and muddy. You can kind of get on her lips. Like she was really rolling in the dirt. This is nice too, that little bit of black helps to bring out some different textures in the skin and from that latex that we did earlier. Her tip of her nose is probably black because all of your outer extremities when you dye will probably lose blood a little bit quicker. So almost like a frostbite type of look. We'll remove a little bit of that pink from her lips. So I'm gonna have her get nice and close in just a second so you guys can see where we're at. And then we'll take a break and we'll come back and we'll do something else. We'll keep adding to this look. So get up nice and close so they can see your zombie skin. Yes, I'm gonna turn you just a little bit. How does that look, guys? Looks pretty gross, right? We love it. Ooh. All right, so we'll take a little break. We'll come back in a couple minutes and we're gonna play with her teeth. Ah. All right, we're back. We're gonna keep adding to our zombie here. We're gonna just keep going through our FX products at Makeup Forever. The next product I wanna show you, there's two colors. It's the Tooth Decay, so it comes in two shades, the nicotine and then the blackout. So these are gonna be really good for like treating teeth. You just don't want to use them on like any type of veneer or prosthetic teeth. You want to use them on natural teeth. So I'm shaking them really good. And before you apply to the tooth, you want to dry the teeth really good. So I'm gonna have Tori just kind of smile, give me a creepy grin, and then she's got to stay that way for a while. So this is her face, everybody, raw and unplugged. And I'm gonna have her breathe in through her teeth. It feels kind of cold, but at the same time it dries the teeth really, really good. So next up, we're gonna do the nicotine tooth decay. I'm just gonna use a disposable lip wand to take some of this product. I'm gonna work from my palette. And then while her teeth are exposed, we're gonna just paint all around the edges with this color. It doesn't have to be perfect. You wanna see all that texture in the teeth. And it'll dry really quick. It's alcohol-based. And it'll stay on until she takes it off. So I'm gonna have her breathe in again just to dry it quicker. Let's see, get up close so they can see that nicotine color. Yeah, gross. So that's this guy right here. Next up, we're gonna do the black one. So this one's gonna black out the teeth. We're gonna make it look like she was just like gnarling on a skull or some bones or something. So we're gonna make her teeth look jagged, and we might even black out a whole tooth. So I'm gonna use a disposable wand to paint her teeth again. So let's give her a jagged tooth. We're gonna like cut off the base of this tooth. So keep in mind, remember I said earlier, you wanna put this on natural teeth. You don't wanna put it on like fake teeth or veneers, because it could potentially stain, and then that might get you in trouble with your clients. But on natural teeth, you're absolutely fine. And then to remove it, you just use alcohol and a Q-tip. It might take a couple of passes, but it'll come off. But it's designed for like stage use, so this can stay on for hours. It's gonna be really gnarly, I love it. Okay. Breathe in through your mouth again. And get up close so they can see all those crazy details. Yes. So it should be dry, you can close your mouth. There we go. Oh my God, that's terrifying. Love it. Next up, I think we need a little blood, a little extra blood. So I'm gonna take my coagulated blood, the same one that we used earlier inside her wound. And then just with like a scraping tool, this is a brush that Danny created for creating scrapes and wounds. I'm gonna use this to apply coagulated blood, maybe around the mouth. So you'll get some nice texture. It stays put. I mean, this is just your great everyday makeup right here. I love that. So she's ready for Halloween. Let's see, take a look. So that's the end result. I'll have her get up close. And then remember, guys, if you ever have questions, you can always DM me on Instagram. I'm really quick at getting back. I usually get back within like 24 hours. Or stop by one of our boutiques at Makeup Forever. You can check out, just kind of go on makeupforever.com to see all our locations. ask any of the tribe how to create some of these looks. And we wish you all the best for Halloween. Tag me in all your pictures. I want to see how you guys are doing it out there in the real world, creating zombies and monsters, my favorite characters. Thanks again. Bye, guys.